My name is Max James, and as always, I am one half of the Two Ton Nerds, and tonight is night 27 of the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project presented by the Two Ton Nerds, and the theme for this week has been double features, and it's Saturday as well, and it's Max's never before seen horror movies, and both these movies have a commonality, and they both have mysterious figures. And the first movie I'll be watching is called ATM. And the second movie I'll be watching tonight is called The Tall Man. So I'm going to get right into watching these movies, and I'll be right back, as always, in a few seconds to tell you what you need to know about these movies. So, last night I watched ATM and as well as The Tall Man. I have a few categories to get through to tell you what you need to know about these categories, and first up is the plot. The plot for The Tall Man is it boiled down to about a town that is dying. The main source of income has shut down, and everyone is starting to look very sickly and just like they've lost all hope. And then to make matters worse is that children are starting to disappear, and the only real medical personnel in the town is a nurse of the husband of the doctor who died, a nurse of the wife of the husband that died, and it's just kind of, this town, it just really looks like it's dying, and that's pretty much, and the children start going missing, and the kind of like the mythos going around is they've been taken by a tall man. He's dressed all in black, and that's pretty much what it's all about. And then the plot for ATM is about three co-workers. They're on their one of the co-workers likes a fellow co-worker, so he offers a ride or take her home. And then another co-worker is like, "Hey, you brought me to this party, so you got to kind of like take me with you." And it's like, and he agrees. So he on their way to take him home. And then he realizes that he's hungry and he has no cash, and he just kind of he's being very whiny about it. And so they have to stop by this ATM, and he goes in and starts getting his money, and he waves this one dude in and waves his friend in, and he gets in there. Then the girl, she's all alone in the car, and she kind of gets a little creeped out a little bit, so she just goes in. And they're just talking. It's very casual. Then when they leave, that's where their problems start. And then there's this unknown man. He just kind of sits there and waits on them, and he is playing this weird cat and mouse game, and it's just really good. Choose the characters. The characters for The Tall Man. Jessica Biel, she takes the lead in that movie, and she plays the nurse. She plays a nurse, and she looks very sickly in this movie as well. And it just proves that this town is just dying, because all the characters are they just don't look like they care much about their appearance, and they just look very sickly, and they just then also the townspeople are a character as well because they are the victims of this movie, because their kids are being abducted and never to be seen again, and it's just kind of like, you can tell that they actually care, and the townspeople actually do play a really nice role in the movie. Then you got the characters for ATM. The ATM characters, you got Alice Eve. She plays the girl, the love interest for one of the guys, or the crush, that's what I should say. Then you got Josh Peck. You might recognize him from like Drake and Josh, or even The Whackness. So there's actually some heavy hitters in ATM as well, and they work really well. Josh Peck, he kind of plays. He plays a douchebag. It's pretty much what he plays, because he's the whole reason why they're in this situation in the first place, because he just wouldn't quit whining. And Alice Eve, she's just kind of having to deal with the situation, and it's really good. Then Hold on, I got some notes. Oh, the location. There's really no special effects in this movie, so I'm kind of gonna do the locations instead. The locations for the Tall Man. This town looks like it's dying because most of it takes place in the woods, so it's like it just looks like it's dying because it takes place in the winter. Everyone's kind of bundled up and kind of heavy, and I mean kind of dressed heavy, and it's just really cool, and it just makes them all look heavy, and the town looks like it's dying, and it's just a really cool location out in the middle of the woods. Then you got ATM. The location is essentially in a parking lot with one of those indoor-outdoor ATMs where you have to actually go inside a little box to put your get to the ATM, but you have to. But it's also like just a little room outside. So, and enclosed with glass, and it's just both of these locations are really well done because they're like you got this really grand wooded area, then you got this little confined little booth, and it's just like two different opposite movies, but they do practically the same thing. You just can't leave, so it's pretty cool. Sorry, I got some. The endings. The endings of the movie are really satisfying. I really do believe. I do believe that they are very satisfying, especially for the Tall Man. The Tall Man. The ending kind of is really nice, and there's twists and turns, and just kind of like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. And then you got the ending for the ATM. It's really cool as well. Even though you can kind of see little snippets of it at the beginning of ATM, but even when you start watching, it's like, oh, that's how that happens, or that's how that happens. And it's just really cool. So, but I can't really tell you about the endings because it would give the movie. It would just tell the movie. It would ruin the movie right off the bat. So, I'm gonna get right in my little classification scale. 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. 1 is your run-of-the-mill horror movie. 2 actually it's best watched with a group. 3 is a good horror movie, just doesn't offer anything new to the horror genre. 4 actually helps move the horror genre forward. And 5 is a horror classic. The Tall Man isn't technically a horror movie, but the events in the movie are pretty horrific. Like, if you are a parent and you're getting your kid kidnapped and never seen again, it's pretty horrific. So, I give it a 3. I give Tall Man a 3. It's a good horror movie in that sense. Like, what would happen if your kid was never seen again, and then you found out there is a figure in the town. It's like, what would you do? It's like, you can't really stop it. So, that's a 3. Then for ATM, I actually kind of struggled with this one because I wasn't quite sure how to rate it. So I'm going to give it a 4. I really am, because it is actually pretty inventive on some of the things. Because even though you've seen these little confinement movies like Saw and Phone Booth and all the other kind of like movies, but this one actually does everything pretty well. It's just really because it just kind of fits in the movie very well, because all the little twists and turns and the excitement, it just works really well. So I give it a 4 because it actually does improve on some of those things. That's what I'm trying to say, is that it improves on what the other movies couldn't do. And even though some of them are kind of routinely, but I think this is probably one of the better movies that actually do the confinement stories. So, that's really all I gotta say. So, my name is Max James, and as always, I'm one half of the 2 Ton Nerds, and I'm gonna go geek out.